Hi, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. Now, we had a question in on a video that I did recently. I did a video where I was basically asking what sort of videos you want me to make. And Dino Muller has sent in a question. Dino says he's been on the hunt for great guitar tones for his own recordings. He's very interested in my workflow, from choosing guitar or even a pick to pedals, amps and aux settings to put together a channel strip in your DAW. He says he seems to spend way too much time tweaking all the variables and it's very fatiguing. And how do you go about this? So what I'm going to do in this video is to record a song just using guitars and pedals, and I'm only going to be using one sound. I'm going to be using the Boss GT-1000 for this. The basic sound that we've got is this. The first thing I'm going to do is to get my pedals sorted out. Now, I know that I want to use a compressor on this, so I'm going to switch on the compressor that I normally use with a Telecaster, which is an exotic SP compressor. So that now just gives it that little bit of compression. Now, on this compressor, I've got the mix rolled back quite far, so I'm using parallel compression. How can I explain that? So there's a lot more guitar signal coming through than the actual compression. Let me turn it off. And I'll bring it in. So this is just smoothing out the peaks. Now the next thing I want to do is to add a boost pedal in. So if I add that in, it sounds like this. So that's just pushing the front of the amp. And last of all, I'm going to add in a tube screamer. So I'm not using a massive amount of drive. Now, as I said, what I'm going to try and do is to create all these different guitar sounds just by using my pedal board and one sound on the GT-1000. The next thing I need to decide is, do I want the reverb from the GT-1000 or do I want to add reverb inside the DAW? The DAW that I'm using for this is actually Luna. Now here's the problem. If I record with reverb, I can't take it off. So what I'm going to do is just to see what the difference is. So the sound of the reverb with the GT-1000 sounds like this. Now if I take off the reverb, let's switch back to Luna, and what I'm going to do is to add some reverb here. Now you can hear the quality of the reverb inside Luna is really, really good. I'm using a Lexicon 224 for this. Personally, I always like to monitor with reverb and delay if the part needs it, as I'm sort of getting a representation of where the mix is going to end up. So now let's add some delay in as well. Okay, we've got a bit too much there. Now what I want to do with this delay, let me switch over to that delay channel. Let's bring up my delay that I'm using. Now what I want to do with this delay is to give it that sort of dotted eighth note, dotted quarter note sort of sound. I'm going to push the sync button here, and as you can now see, we've got like the divisions of the notes inside the tempo of this track, which is 177. Right, I'm going to change that to, let's make that dotted eighth notes, and let's make this side dotted quarter notes. So that sounds like this. Okay, let's close that and let's go back to the track. The part that I'm going to record is going to go through the whole length of the song, so let's record that now. So that's the first part recorded. Now the reason why I chose this guitar to record that with, because this guitar is particularly bright and it cuts through the mix really, really well. And that part, I just want to be the focus of the song. So let's go and get another guitar and let's record the next part. The next part I'm going to record is going to be a double track part. So the first track that I'm going to record is using this Sir guitar. Now this Sir guitar has humbuckers. It's quite a smooth sounding guitar, but it's quite a woody sounding guitar because it's got the F hole. So what I want to do with these two guitar parts is to have one guitar part panned left and the other one panned right. And I need two different sounding guitars for that, so that's why I'm using this one. Now pedal wise, I'm going to keep the tube screamer on. And now let's add some reverb, again using the same reverb. Now because this part isn't a feature part, it's more of a supporting part, I don't want to add so much reverb. What I want to try and do with this reverb is to make it sound like the guitar is recorded in a room. Okay, let's record that part. So that's that part recorded. Now what I want to do is to create a double track, but I want to pan that guitar that I've just recorded and the new guitar left and right. So let's go to the guitar I've just recorded and let's pan that hard left and adjust the volume. So as you can see, I haven't added any EQ or compression inside the DAW yet. As I'm in recording mode, what I want to try and do is to stay focused on the recording and not worry about the technical stuff. The worst thing you can do now is to start worrying about fiddling with EQs and compression, because your brain switches out of recording mode and goes into production mode. And that's not what we want to do at the moment. We're just recording. Right, let's record the third guitar part. So I need to go and get another guitar. So let's have a look at the third guitar part. Now the third guitar part is going to be more or less the same as the second guitar part, but I'm going to be using a different guitar again. This one's got single coils. It sounds very different to that third guitar. And with this guitar part, what we're going to do first of all is to pan the guitar over to the right. Now the last guitar part we recorded was panned over to the left. Now this one's over to the right. Hard panning your guitars left and right is a classic rock and roll recording technique. Now again, I want to add some reverb to record with, just so I can get a sort of feel how it's going to sound. So let's turn up the lexicon here. Let's have a listen. Pedal wise, I'm going to keep the same compressor on, but I'm going to switch in a Thorpe Peacekeeper, which I've got the drive fairly high, so it sounds like this. And now let's record the third guitar part. So now I've recorded those three guitar parts. Now I want to go for the last guitar part. Again, I'm not worried about sounds too much. I'm not worried about EQ or compression inside the DAW because I'm in recording mode. I just want to get my ideas down. So the ideas are down, then I can switch my brain into the production mode. For the last guitar part, I'm going to use this PRS DGT The reason why I'm doing this is because it's got humbuckers. It's got a really great sort of sound, especially for lead guitar. Pedal wise, I'm going to be using a different compressor. When I use this PRS DGT, because it's a darker sounding guitar, it's a much smoother sounding guitar, I use a Keeley compressor, a Keeley 4-knob compressor, which has an EQ on it, so you can brighten up the tone a little bit. And I'm going to go into an Exotic Effects BB preamp. So that sounds like this. So as you can hear, it's quite saturated, which is the sort of sound that I would like for this sort of style of guitar part for this sort of song. Now, again, I want to add some reverb and add some delay to it. And let's see how that sounds. Now on this channel, I'm going to break my rules a little bit and I'm going to put an EQ on it, and I'm just going to boost 2 dB at 10K. Now, the difference of that is this. So it just adds that little bit of top end sizzle. Right, let's record that part. So there we go. So there's the basic recording. Now, as I said, I'm trying to stay out of this production mode. I'm trying to not worry about EQ or compression. I'm only just trying to get enough inspiration so I can put the parts down. I can worry about the actual polishing the sounds up later on. So that's the first video in the series. Join me in the next video, and then we're going to start to have a look at channel strips, EQs, compression, and adding the correct effects to that. So I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. I really hope you guys got something out of that. If you did get something out of it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click on the bell button and you'll be notified of any future video that comes out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.